Okay, it is 7:30 on Tuesday, the 5th of January. I want to call this regular council meeting of the City of Twinsburg to order. Shannon, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mrs. Labby?
Here.
Mr. Post?
Here.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Okay, at this time we'll have our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mrs. Walker this evening. Please rise.
O God, from whom all powers comes, by whose divine will all must abide. We thank you for our civil liberties and freedom, for our opportunities and our privileges. We beg of you to bless, assist, and enlighten this council and representatives of the City of Twinsburg. May we prove worthy of the confidence placed in us by our fellow citizens. May we be just and upright in their thinking, honest in all of our actions, and ever be guided by a true conscience in the legislation we propose or vote upon. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, it'll put you to the left. Okay, next we'll move on to approval of the regular minutes from the council meeting on January 11th. I do have one change in the minutes. It was stated in there that I called the regular meeting to order at 7:21, and in actuality it was 7:30. So I'd like to make that change, and I believe Shannon already made that change. I talked to her about that. So with that change in mind and that done, somebody want to?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes with the change Mr. Scafidi discussed versus the time of meeting start. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Shannon?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, no awards or presentations, I don't see. Audience participation?
There is none.
There is. Okay. Don't raise your hand. You almost bought that table. Okay, council communication and committee reports. We will start with, how about I start today? Under my committee, we have BZA will meet tomorrow at 6:30 right here in the council chambers. That's the 26th. My other committees have not met. Under my communications, though, I would like to welcome Matt Gazanna, our new law director, to the dais tonight that joins us for our first council meeting. So welcome, Matt, and look forward to working with you. Thank you very much. And that's all I have, really. So we'll move on. How about Mrs. Labby?
Good evening. None of my committees met. There is, however, a half-day work session tomorrow for the JEDI committee that I'll be attending. I did attend a Finance 101, or Government Finance 101 meeting with Sarah, our finance director, and it was very much appreciated how she defined everything. She dumbed it down to someone like me. So it was very well done, Sarah. Thank you. And Twins Days meeting is February 2nd. And again, welcome, Matt.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Barr.
Good evening, thank you. The Planning Commission met last night in council chambers, and there were a few items up for discussion. The first being a lot split and consolidation for the parcels owned by Mr. Matthew Terry at 11526 and 11514 Ravenna Road. The vote was unanimous in favor of that, so that'll be moving forward. There was a similar use determination for a kennel, although it's Pet Suites is the name of the company. They are more of a high-end pet hotel, if you will. And the similar use determination was to determine whether or not the use of a kennel in an I-2 district was similar to that of like a veterinary clinic or things of that nature. That was voted for council to approve or discuss, certainly 5-0 as well. Finally, Larry Finch went over the 2021 comprehensive plan. The members of that committee have worked diligently on that. There is a significant component of that plan that focuses on sustainability. And although Twinsburg is already doing a lot of the right things, there is a lot of room for improvement there. And that plan addresses a lot of those things. And there are also a lot of tenets and components of previous comprehensive plans that are echoed throughout this. So I'm sure Mr. Finch will be bringing that to council for consideration, but that was also voted on 5-0 unanimously by members of Planning Commission. That is it for planning. I believe our next meeting is the 28th. I'm sorry, I just wanted to check that. I did not write that down.
Got you right here.
Yes, February 28th.
28th. Yeah, and it looks like we will be having a couple items for discussion then. I attended tonight's Finance Committee meeting. I apologize again for my tardiness. And just want to welcome Matt on board. Glad to have you. And that's all I have this evening, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Post.
Thank you. I did attend the finance meeting as well. I will let Mr. Bellin speak on that. We have the environmental committee meeting February 1st, 7 o'clock, right here in council chambers. I know there's a CIC meeting this Thursday. I know I'm no longer on the CIC. I might attend one more meeting though this Thursday.
Council is welcome to all the CIC meetings.
Yes. I might come this Thursday. Appreciate you for having me for the last year. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bellin.
Thank you. Good evening. The Golf Advisory Board met on January 18th. We got a golf report from Brian Menard. There was over 37,000 rounds played last year. He's in the process of planning for 2022, including outings, leagues, and those kind of things. Golf is in a really good place right now. So I appreciate all of the work that Brian and his staff have done out there. We also got a course update and improvement update from Jim Roberts. The course was aerated in the fall. The driving range was reseeded and will be ready for opening in the May timeframe, weather dependent. He did mention that he was having some difficulty getting some replacement parts, but he doesn't anticipate any issues, and he does hope that everything will be ready for open. Both of them are actually starting to hire for seasonal help in about the next month or so be on the lookout for that. We also had a discussion about the Burtwood Group and how they can better service our golfers moving forward in the upcoming season, so I'm looking forward to that. The next Golf Advisory Board meeting will be held on March 15th, 6:30 p.m. here in council chambers. As was alluded to earlier, the Finance Committee met this evening prior to council. We discussed the 2022 appropriations for the Golf Pro Shop, Golf Maintenance, and Parks and Rec. That conversation was led by Mrs. Bucci-Grass. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We also had a 2021 financial review. Just a couple of numbers here. The general fund, I know that's a number that everyone always looks at. We began the year at $11.7 million. We ended the year at $12.4 million for a difference of upwards of $660 million. So that's outstanding. I won't steal a ton of Sarah's thunder here. 660,000. I apologize.
I would love if it had 660
right.
That'd be a good problem.
2021 income tax was just shy of $23 million as well. We also did get, we were told that one of the city's largest employers, Cardinal Health, has informed us that they will be moving primarily to a work from home policy for most of their employees. This will adversely affect the income taxes in the city of Twinsburg. I anticipate that they'll probably not be the last that we hear of that, so we will certainly something to keep track of as we move forward in the months and years to come. The next Finance Committee will meeting on Tuesday, February 22nd, 6 p.m. here in council chambers. Nothing further this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker.
Good evening, everyone. I did attend the finance meeting 101 with Karen, and
Sarah did just a great job. And then afterwards, she asked us questions, and we got it right, didn't we? Because we were good girls, and we listened to her, and she made us. Also, I did attend the promotion ceremony of Sergeant Brian Donato, and that was last Friday. And also, my committees have not met yet, and that's all I have to report. Thank you, Sam.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fury?
Good evening. I also attended the Finance Committee meeting earlier this evening. On the 20th, January 20th, I attended the ARB meeting. 3 cases were heard. Case 220101 for 9945 Vale Drive. It was simply signage for the new Jewish Center, and it passed unanimously. We also had case 220103, which is new signage for the Taco Bell. They're rebranding, and there's probably 15 or 16 signs, but that passed unanimously as well. And lastly, it was case 220104, 9122 Gettysburg Drive. There was a garage addition where a previous applicant is just adding an additional 4 feet. That as well was passed unanimously. There is nothing on the agenda for the ARB for our regularly scheduled 1/9 meeting, and we will have to wait till there are agenda items or submissions that need to be reviewed prior to scheduling. I will be attending the Jedi retreat tomorrow, 126, and I'll also be attending the CIC this Thursday evening. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So one thing I'd like to mention, so Mark Kotowski has been working diligently to partner us up with Community Focus. Community Focus has some new technology, and so tonight, for the first time, we're streaming live currently on our cable channel, 1022. So if I said something wrong, Mark, you can just wave your hand, but is that correct? All right, so for those that typically have to wait to see it posted the next day, and we do a great job, we'll continue to do that, but those that want to watch it live now have the opportunity on our local cable channel. So
do you have one of those buttons that you can pause it, because I never know what I'm going to say? Okay, that's all, okay.
We can put it on a delay if you want.
Right, that's what I mean, like 10-second delay like we do on live television. I just don't know what's going to come out sometimes.
Second, so as part of the CIC, we've talked a little bit about that already, but I have to make appointments. And so council, I've had conversations with all of council, and there were people that shared interest about being on the CIC. And so the 3 that will be on CIC will be Bill Fury, Sam Scafidi, and Karen Labby. So those 3, we look forward to you joining. And again, I encourage all of council to come and be part of that committee. We're doing some great things. We've made some great progress on the downtown area redevelopment. So we're hoping that that continues to move forward. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes to try to help make that happen. Next, we've been, Finance Committee got some presentations this evening, and they'll continue from our department heads. Behind the scenes, we've been meeting with our departments to kind of finalize the budget in preparation of these meetings. So we've been meeting with all the department heads, and we'll continue to do so before they meet with council. But it's just fine tuning and making sure there's no adjustments now that we've closed the year out, and to get prepared for the final budget to be adopted in March. A couple of things are winter storm related. One, I've received a number of phone calls, I know council has too, regarding cul-de-sacs in the city. I've met with our public works director. I know they had a meeting of foremen today to discuss options to try to help that situation. So I'm sure everyone that lives in a cul-de-sac knows exactly what I'm talking about. For those that don't, I'll just explain. When they go around a cul-de-sac, unfortunately, when they're pushing snow, all of it just ends up building a ski ramp at the bottom of driveways in that cul-de-sac. And, and it's a significant issue that makes it difficult for people to get in and out of their driveways with their cars or get to their mailboxes. So we are looking at a program that can help that situation, sending potentially a different drive around. They've got a couple proposals they're going to present to me that we can discuss and look at the options. Second, I put out a message, was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday? Day before yesterday? Yesterday. Regarding sidewalks. I talked with a number of residents, and then also talked with Kathy Powers, the school district, and we were just talking about the general concern overall in the community regarding the clearing of sidewalks and I say kids. I was corrected that I don't know that there's to be politically incorrect to call children kids, and so I call them kids, but I know someone on Facebook pointed that out. So if it bothers you, I apologize, but I'm still going to call them kids. So anyway, so of them trying to get to their bus stops, and so we talked about options, and she put out a post, and we put out one also that was a voicemail message, and it also went out on Facebook. And when I read it, which I didn't read it till that evening, there were a ton of typos, and the way it was worded was really poorly done. That is because we have a translation program that takes my message, and it's kind of like when you voice into your phone to try to text, and it does its best to interpret what you said. So anyway, I was called out for grammar and a bunch of other things that people were more caught up in than they were the actual message. But the actual message is, if you can, please clear your sidewalks, help your neighbors out. I've talked to a number of people that do that already. But there's a lot in the city that we need to try to address. And then from a school district standpoint, the children that are looking to get to a bus stop can't get to a lot of them, and so they're going to the nearest driveway closest to the bus stop. So I'm just asking residents just to be a little more alert when you're leaving for work in the morning, because there may be kids standing in your driveway. So that was the essence of my message, but I was critiqued on a lot of different things yesterday. And then finally, I just want to congratulate Brian Donato. He's a sergeant currently with police department. We did promote him to lieutenant. And on a bigger picture with our police department, Chief Noga retired and turned over reins to Chief Mason, and did so in a fashion where the administrative staff had retired and would dwindle down to where really Chief Mason can build his police department administrative the way he wants. And so this is one of a significant piece of where he likes to see that department going in the future. So we'll see other promotions, but it's an exciting time for them, the entire department, because the upward mobility of sergeants creates upward mobility for patrolmen into sergeants. So we're excited about that process and where it's going to take our department. And that's all I have this evening. Do we have one department head report?
We do.
All right, Sarah.
Good evening, Council. January 2022 income tax revenues, we are just above $2 million. Compared to last year, we were at 1.75, so we are up over 2021, $277,000. We are still down from the year before. January 2020 was before the pandemic hit. It hit in March 2020, so you'll see things even out on those numbers, but we are down just about 13% from that January 2020 pre-pandemic number. There are no year-to-date numbers because January is the number for this month. December 2021, we have closed out the books. We will have those financials out to council probably tomorrow and then posted online on Friday. In finance, we're starting to work on our gap conversion, and then we have our first discussion with our audit folks next week. So we're getting going on the 2021 stuff and working on the financial statements. We are working on 2022 appropriations. As the mayor mentioned, we're having those follow-up meetings with all the department heads now that we have 2021 closed out. Ohio Online Checkbook, we voted last year to go ahead and participate in that program. Now that we have the 2021 books closed out, we will upload the 2020 and 2021 financial information to the website. So my guess is sometime first quarter we'll have that live for everyone to be able to go check out, and we'll probably do a newsletter article or something so people know it's out there. On the IT side of things, we are still working on that upgrade for our controls system, so you might see the new swipes at the doors coming in and out of City Hall, and we're getting new cameras and all that good stuff. Mark is working on the council chambers technology upgrade that we had approved last year. We rolled that money forward so we could get that done. We did place the order for the electronic sign out front of City Hall. Obviously, when that sign comes in, there's not much we can do about it right now, but we've got it on the slate for the springtime. Service knows it's coming. And then we are going to start discussing our 2022 projects down in IT to see what we can take care of this year. And that's all I have for today.
Great.
Thank you. That's all I have to.
Okay. Let's move on to legislation. We have resolution number 6, 2022.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a professional service contract for the provision of prosecutorial services for the city of Twinsburg.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 6, 2022. May I have a second?
I'll second.
I'm going. Oh, okay. Mr. Fury, second. At this time, I would like to amend this to include an emergency. We need to make this an emergency in order to not get caught up in retro pay with this employee. So I
second
make a
Mr.
motion that we.
Scaffidi's. I second Mr. Scaffidi's motion as we discussed earlier.
Okay. Anybody have any discussion? Shannon, call the roll on that.
Can I just get clarification? We're adding the standard emergency clause to this?
Yes.
Because it was in caucus, so I just want to make sure.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
His motion was to add a standard emergency clause. I second.
Thank you. Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Okay, now I would like to add to my motion to adopt resolution 6, 2022 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury, second. Any discussion now? All right, Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Resolution 6, 2022 passes as an emergency. We have resolution 7, 2022.
A resolution authorizing the transfer of service weapon serial number 45A022054 to the retired police sergeant Craig Bremner as an honorarium for as many years of service to the city of Twinsburg.
Okay, I want to make a motion to adopt resolution 7, 2022. May I have a second? Mrs. Labby. Any discussion? Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Resolution 7, 2022 passes 7-0. Resolution 8, 2022.
A resolution authorizing the transfer of service weapon serial number 45A022060 to retired police sergeant Tom Austin as an honorarium for as many years of service with the city of Twinsburg.
Okay, make a motion to adopt resolution 8, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker, second. Any discussion? Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 8, 2022 passes 7-0. Resolution 9, 2022.
A resolution honoring Black History Month in February in the city of Twinsburg.
Okay, make a motion that we adopt resolution 9, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, Mrs. Labby, second. Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay.
I had talked about maybe finding someone we could actually honor during the month. We talked with Daisy at the break, and we're going to talk to the mayor maybe after to find a resident that maybe we could honor and do something with the month and be proactive with it.
Call. Okay, very good. Anybody else? Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 9, 2022 passes 7-0. Move on to unfinished business, new business, or miscellaneous. Start with Mr. Bellin.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate Lieutenant Donato on his promotion and thank him for his previous and future service to the city of Twinsburg. I would also like to welcome Mr. Gazanna. It's going to be a pleasure to work with you. Thank you very much. And I know we talked a lot tonight about snow plowing. I know that there are issues with snow plows. I do have to commend our guys and gals. They do an outstanding job. In these last couple weeks, I've driven a lot, actually, and our roads are always the best roads around. I mean, without exception. So thank you very much, not only to them, but thank you for the residents for giving them a little bit of leeway, as it takes quite a bit of time to deal with 25 inches of snow or whatever it is. Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker.
Yes, the mayor and I attended Mr. Carlton Powers' funeral on January 15th, and he was a great guy, and I went to school with his son and his daughters, and the mayor gave a great speech, and so humbly his speech was, and he also presented him with the flag because he was in, I think, the Korean War. And also, I just want to say something about the mayor's monthly report. It's thorough, but it is so good. I mean, I read it from page 1 all the way to what, 46, 50 pages. I read it all, and it's really good. So, you know, how you get all that information in, and your secretary, you really do a great job. But I read everything. You send it to me, I'm going to read it.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Mr. Fury.
And I'd like to thank Tanita for all the work she does on that mayor's report.
Does a good job.
Isn't that it's a good one.
She stays on the department heads for me.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Okay, and I have nothing this evening as well. Mr. Post.
Welcome. Welcome to have you, and I look forward to working with you. And other than that, I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Barr.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Labby.
I also attended Officer Donato's swearing in, and it's so nice to go to an event like that because you see them with their families and just raw emotion of how appreciative they are of the support from their families. So I really enjoyed doing something like that. Congratulations, Officer Donato. Nothing further.
Okay, Marriott.
Yeah, so a couple of things, just to share also what Mr. Bellin had mentioned. You know, our service department has done a fantastic job. I mean, we've got new drivers. We have I think 6 new drivers this year that are out there learning how to drive a 5-ton. I've been in a 5-ton while it's been plowed, and it's the mental stress doesn't even compare to the physical part of doing it. I mean, it's a difficult job, and they do a great job. I also got corrected because I said service guys in my message yesterday. Right now, we do have all guys, so I was actually correct in saying guys, but in the service department. But they do a fantastic job, and I hopefully you have patience with them on side streets because they're really hitting the main roads hard, and then trying to get out to residential areas. But they do a good job. And then, yeah, Mr. Powers' funeral was it was a really just a moving experience. He had, he served in World War II veterans, so they talked about all of his service in the military, but the thing that stood out in the whole program, it was a 4-page program, was right in the center. It said he was a soldier for Christ, and that stood out to me. And the family that was there took up one whole side of the church. He had 7 kids, and he had grandkids, I don't know, 25 or 30. He had great-grandkids, and then he had great-great-grandkids.
Like 200 of them.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. But thank you for inviting me. It was really a pleasure to be part of that service. And then lastly, just want to welcome Matt Gazanna. It is a little different sitting next to Matt after all the years with Mr. Maestros, who will be getting on a plane tomorrow and heading west. But we're excited about Matt. I know he's going to become a really integral part of our administration here. So that's all I have this evening.
Okay. Even though my agenda says Mr. Maestros, I'm going to call on Mr. Gazanna. Anything you have tonight?
Nothing new to report, but I will say I'm very excited to work with everyone. So, and I'm just excited at all the opportunities we have.
Great. Thank you. Shannon Collins.
Nothing this evening.
Okay. Sarah, last chance. Anything else?
Sure. Welcome to Matt. He is already teaching me how to understand lawyer speak, which I very much appreciate. So he's giving me an education already, which is great. And then I do want to say congrats to Lieutenant Donato. I've gotten to work with him on a couple things because he does a lot with grants. And I don't get to work closely with a lot of the sergeants and officers at that level. So it was great to see him move up, and you can see how much he cares too, which was great. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, hearing nothing else, then I will adjourn the meeting at 8 o'clock. Thank you.